Dr. Ray, this is the Global Digest think tank group. For our guest today, exactly what are you doing?
All of the above. I am the chairman of the International Peace Diplomacy Corps. I'm the president of Philippine Innovation Entrepreneurship Mission. So I just want you to use those two NGOs. But apart from that, I'm also working as a graduate school faculty. I'm also a consultant to some schools. I also am consultant in the government, and I also do some exportation. I'm serving as the chairman of International Peace Diplomacy Corps. It's a non-government organization that advocates for the education awareness on peace development and peace um, awareness for everyone through educational campaigns. So we also gather individuals for conversations, for conventions, for assemblies, and for education in terms of continuing and distance education as a way of trying to understand the importance and value of international peace development. So the International Peace Diplomacy Corps office is located in Makati City. So the organization was founded by myself more than a decade ago.
Oh my, I see.
We work with with different stakeholders. We work with different sectors in the society. We are an organization for everyone. Let me emphasize that we are a non-political entity. So we work with different entities, organizations, and individuals who wants to advocate for the importance of peace development.
I see.
I said non-political because our organization does not promote certain political personalities or individuals as well as political parties. We work with the intentions of educating people on the importance of peace development. So our existence is based on the principles enshrined in the aspirations of the UN Charter. So we don't really focus much on political conflicts happening around the world because that is a government to government issue. However, as a non-government organization, our mandate is really to provide education awareness campaign for everyone because as individuals and organization value and understands the importance of peace development and peace education, then little by little they can also be the greater contributors to those that are happening across the world because from the organization's viewpoint, we cannot stop any violence, but we can do something that can impact the development of that violence. So if we can provide education to as many individuals as we can, to as many as organizations, then we are certain that they can have a different perspective by not choosing violence, and they can always choose peace over violence.
I see.
We always conduct regular forums, conventions, conversations, and dialogue to multi-sectoral organizations and stakeholders. But most importantly, the most important mission that we always aspire to is to further disseminate the importance of peace development and peace education. And we are an organization that serves as a platform where people can engage into active conversations and dialogues in the process of understanding and dissecting how to promote and avail a more peaceful environment. But I would say that when it comes to paper presentations, we are not an educational institution, but we are a non-government organization. So we provide a platform for everyone, from the career diplomats to business community to government officials. We always utilizes our platform as a way to inspire more people to engage into individuals from across the world. And we are a community that one wishes to convey the importance of peace diplomacy, especially in these days and in what is happening in the world right now because of differences, because of conflicting ideas. We always believe that even through simple gestures and conversation, we can always sparkle the importance of peaceful environment through even from a viewpoint of even engaging into political relations, economic relations, even theological or spiritual relations, and the common shared values of people to people relations are also very important in as a reflection of either the bilateral or multilateral relations between nations. But as global citizens, we always try to articulate these things through our friendly relations to the people around us.
In Asia, especially, we have the conflict about South China Sea or Taiwan Strait or Burmese issues. Your organization, what role you can play out?
Well, our role is basically on the importance of dissemination. When we are able to disseminate informations, we are able to raise awareness from people to people, from organization to organization, even from individual to individual in different levels, whether it's a foreign student to a foreign individual or from one citizen to another. And I think that's very important because as a non-government organization, we always aspire to articulate and convey our mission vision based on pragmatic applications that are readily and easily available without any political conflicts and dilemmas. So it is always important that we work on what is available, what is due, what is practical, and what is politically acceptable on both ends. So communication dissemination is one aspect of the mission vision of the organization. But on the other hand, it's also very important to be able to substantiate that even through little simple acts, we can always become agents and builders of peace.
I see.
I have previously joined and participated, but right now I am not in any direct involvement for the are you talking of the chairmanship of the Philippines?
Right
Because
now,
at this point,
coming, right?
yeah, I am not directly involved on that as of the moment. And I am just focused on spreading and multiplying the aspirations of the International Peace Diplomacy Corps, which is timely and relevant, especially on what's happening in the Central Asia and the Middle East, and even in the current global stage. I believe that all citizens they are always expected to have good relations with the authorities, simply because, if you want to indeed make a difference, then you need to be visible and be connected. But however, in recent times, being connected is not only about being physically situated within the parameters of a certain jurisdiction, but being connected is being able to convey some thoughts that are imperative to the aspirations of the national government in the international arena, for instance. And I think that the organization, as someone who is inspired by the aspirations of the United Nations, is always aligned not only to our government but to every ASEAN state for that matter, and even to the member states of the United Nations. You know, everyone and all the members always wishes and aspire to have that inclusive peace, development, and sustainability. However, as you know, as we try to re-engineer ourselves, our organizations to that motto, we are always confronted by some challenges. Some may be difficult tasks, some may be easier, but we are always certain that whatever will it be, we will always try to make the most so we can stop and narrow the gaps on the issues that confronts inclusive and sustainable peace development for all.
You see,
I believe that the issue between Thailand and Cambodia entails bilateral relations. But in the same way, I think that the United Nations have already conveyed their wishes for the two nations. And I think that on both ends, both parties were always or are willing to end that conflict the soonest. And I look forward on how they will fulfill to that aspiration. And apparently, the International Peace Diplomacy Corps, we are not in any position to mediate between the two, simply because it entails political movement on both ends. It entails political capacity to stop the tensions between the two nations, and that is not within the mandate of our organization. But of course, if we can help in one way or the other, even through the promotion of peace education and peace development, we do provide certificate and professional diplomas open for all nationalities, for everyone who wishes to generate more information, to upgrade and upskill their knowledge, to level up their professional competence, and to be able to receive that international certificates and diploma, for instance.
and as you know, Philippines ASEAN chairmanship, how can you expect Philippine role in this Thailand-Cambodia conflict? What will be outcome at the end of this year after Philippine chairmanship or during Philippine chairmanship? What can expect that?
Well, the Philippines, as a founding member state of the United Nations, will always aspire for the global aspirations of peace, security, and order more than economic aspirations. And I think that the Philippines will always support the majority consensus, which is to establish and promote peace over violence and over conflict. And I am always confident on that. But on the other hand, it is also important that one issue that confronted the region is the South China Sea or the West Philippine Sea. And that is very political, and looking forward that hopefully by this time, ASEAN would be able to adopt a code of conduct on how to address the myriad differences and point of views on the West Philippine Sea, in that sense. And apart from that, I knew that there are also tensions happening not only between Cambodia and Thailand, and to whatever political instability or political differences that may be happening around the member states of ASEAN, looking forward that it will only be part of making their government stronger, but not to dismantle the government or the central government that they have. And I always pray and wish that, the ASEAN 2026 and beyond will always be about inclusive, sustainable peace development in all aspects. Because when we achieve peace in the region, it is tantamount to say that we have many opportunities, and opportunities are right in front of every member state, like economic development, disruption of the traditional market. The trajectory is very promising to the ASEAN region, which is also very important and powerful if we talk of regional cooperation as a whole. Although hopefully the ASEAN culture will always stand for a strong and solid ASEAN community in the global arena, because some critics would assess that ASEAN is nothing or is not as powerful as the European Union or the African Union. But
Right.
I wanted to believe ASEAN region is playing a very pivotal, monumental action in the years to come, simply because we are located in a very strategic geography. We are in a very highly contested geography that is happen to be blessed with so many natural resources, with great tourist destinations. So, we always want continuity, free of navigation, and all these things that in the end, it's also not only for the country involved, or for the countries involved rather, or for the region, but also for the global community, for the global society, that everyone will have that capacity to really bring out the best in trying to respond to globalization, to the future of UN SDGs, for instance.
Right, right. Yeah, especially related to the West Philippine Sea. I mean, this year is Philippine Chairmanship, ASEAN Chairmanship. They may be not much vote.
Well, I always believe that one day China will try to realize and will respect the importance of the resolution or the final take of the international tribunal on the issue of the West Philippine Sea, that indeed it belongs to the Philippines, and that is part of the Philippine economy, that's part of the Philippine economic and exclusive zone. So on that end, if we are able to showcase respect with one another, I think it can blossom into a more beneficial, mutual benefit for the two nations. So on my end, I would always advocate for more understanding, for more conversations, more dialogues, and more diplomacy in this issue because one can claim just simply because of its historical map or for whatever reason that they wanted to believe. We have to respect on what the current United Nations uh, proceedings have traversed into the international tribunal. And in sometime in 2016, it was already announced, and it was already released. And even after that, the Philippines still filed many diplomatic protests. They keep on sending note verbal because of the tensions that is happening. And right now, we've seen so many infrastructures within the West Philippine Sea, which also destroy the natural habitat of our marine diversity. And looking forward, that China will one day be able to see it in a more broader perspective. And at the end of the day, we are all neighbors. What we want is having a more beautiful relations with one another. If you are not living absolutely in good condition, then things may be delimited. So I always advocate for the betterment of the whole, for all the parties involved. And I have high regards with China, and China is one of my favorite destination. I've been to Beijing, I've been to Tiananmen Square, and China was pivotal to global governance when they had that historical dynasties, the one and only in the world, but of its kind. But I hope that they will also be able to convey that grandeur not only on their end but also to those people that surrounds them with high respect and with high class, that we cannot retaliate. We do not want war. The Philippines doesn't want to engage into any inhumane actions, but the Philippines is always an envoy of peace, and we are always an agent and a builder of peace.
Right. I mean, the sentiment of Chinese language, something like that. They just do whatever they want, whatever their political benefit, regardless of Chinese descendant or Chinese community in Philippines. How can you say that?
Okay, so I think if you have like a Chinese descent, you cannot totally evade the reality that if the Philippines and China have that kind of relations, I think it will even elevate higher their spirit if there are totally no issues at all, right? So what I'm saying is, of course, I believe that in some ways they are also affected, or there are also some limitations on that aspect, because you know that you have the Chinese roots. You came from a certain province in China. Your forefathers came from mainland. So if if that is your situations, if that is your circumstance, then it's always sad to know that why do you need to focus on the differences if we can focus on what we share, on what we have, and on what we look forward. So both ends will benefit from the positive outlook and from the healthy relations.
I see. But I mean, if they feel like that, if Chinese politician they feel like that, it will be very good outcome and much peaceful and harmony in the region, especially Philippines and China. But I don't know their real, their true color of Chinese behavior. We see freedom country. Politica is very different. In that context, I don't know how much or how can you make, can you expect a better relation or better peace building between Philippines and China.
Well, the Philippines stands on the mission that they always wanted to channel it with diplomacy. They always wanted to have an open dialogue with the Chinese counterpart. And that is very important because nowadays we live in an era of so many disinformation, misinformation, discommunication. So if China and the Philippines will continue to work forward on the importance of dialogues and diplomacy in reference to the issue in the South China Sea, then that's a very good primary action. And as a citizen of the Philippines, I will always be supportive on that because it really means that we are willing to negotiate, we are willing to channel our sentiments from our end based on the international law, based on the decision of the International Tribunal, based on the United Nations UNCLOS,
Right.
and based on the aspirations of the United Nations. And that is the argument of the Republic of the Philippines versus China, which I'm not sure why it may be kind of difficult for them to see it on that level because they are also pushing for the historical map and based on historical information, I think, as of now. So I hope that, both ends in the future will find common denominators so we can focus on more important issues and we can have more focus on people to people relations because somehow the tensions in the West Philippine Sea is also preventing people-to-people relations be in its highest form.
See, I mean, you can have people to people relation, live together, you can eat together, you can sleep together, people to people, but it doesn't mean, I don't think, I don't know, it's very unlikely we can expect that the concession in this peacemaking because of you have relation with the woman or the man.
Yes, definitely. We are always having that outstanding to people relations. But what I was trying to emphasize earlier, that if these political tensions will be eliminated totally, then more people-to-people relations can even flourish better than today. So it is in my greatest aspiration as well that hopefully the tensions can be eliminated. Why do we have to focus on the differences if we can focus more on the shared values that we have?
I see. I mean, in some aspects, psychologically, you can release some pressure or stress if you have a good relationship. You sleep well, eat well, psychologically you will be released. But the core issue about territory dispute, like Western Philippine Sea dispute, it may be unlikely Chinese will make concession. We can say relationship, emotional will be not always expectable. But I think, I mean, Philippines has many options too, because regional also very strong. You also have big neighbor with Indonesia. Within ASEAN, you can focus all ASEAN country united, and especially dispute country, Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei. If you united, you can still able to stand up against China or what kind of challenges. But I don't know, within ASEAN country, ASEAN member country, unity is not that as much good. I don't know. In terms of social culture perspective, how can you say it can make more unity, or ASEAN as Philippines chairman, you can make more unity this year, especially in this year?
Well, one features of the ASEAN region is the diversity of its peoples, of its cultures, of its political systems, even spirituality. They are all in different variants. And I think that makes ASEAN a very unique regional bloc because of its formation, because of its diverse form and elements, it makes ASEAN a more promising in resolving and in putting its worth to the global community. And, I always wanted to believe that we as neighbors in the East Asian region we play our role because of our very unique heritage, our extraordinary topography landscape, including the other elements, be politically, economically, socially, and even culturally. They are great attributes of what we have, where we are, and how the future will respond to such differences. And we represent in our uniqueness, the global community in the regional bloc within ASEAN. And, we are the only regional bloc that justifies that extraordinary genre from the member states of the association. And I do not want to say that it's a form of weakness, but I wanted to focus on the positive aspect because having differences doesn't make of a less of a nation, but sometimes it makes the region more attractive, more consolidated because of our unique and special features, and it only represents the world within our region. So unity, or shall I say that the national interest of every member state of ASEAN, of course, definitely varies simply because our national interest may may be more aligned to the national interests of other nations, or maybe on this issue one member or two members are not in consensus with the other members, or we go back to the issue of the South China Sea Code, which until now is still a big question on how we can move forward for that. But as I told you earlier, our uniqueness, our extraordinary features really makes ASEAN a powerful bloc in its own. And we do not want to focus on what will divide ASEAN as a regional bloc, but we want to focus on how ASEAN can look forward for the years to come, and how can the little differences be resolved so that we can move forward for even greater direction that will benefit all the member states, all its people, and all its economic activities.
I see. Example, Singapore also has a lot of Chinese, most are Chinese descendant. How can you say Singapore behavior?
Well, in firstly, I am not from Singapore. I am not a Singaporean, so I cannot speak on their behalf. But based on my observation, of course, there will be greater economic activities from China and Singapore, simply because China plays a very pivotal role in global economy. So of course, all the big manufacturing firms globally are mostly deployed in China because of economics. However, it doesn't mean that having this economic synergy will mean greater political relations. However, and politics are always related. They are interconnected. But as I said earlier, it will be unfair to judge or to give a very basic knowledge and nuggets on how Singapore portrays its role in the global stage, simply because I am not from Singapore. I cannot talk on their behalf. I am not a Singaporean diplomat. And, you know, I'm very sure that Singapore always aspire for peace with great respect to the member states of the region. You know, you cannot compare an apple and an orange simply because they have different features. They are very unique. Again, I do not want to make preemptive comparison between these nations, simply because it's so difficult to make pronouncement without basing it on the actual data and informations. But I would say that the member states of ASEAN, once again, they all have their own national interests that they do advance in the international community. To whatever it is, their national interest is their primary obligation to comply their commitment to their locals or to their nationals. So of course, if you are a leader of a nation, you would always aspire what will be the best policy, the best direction that will benefit greater people, right? So that is the simple mathematics of that. You will do actions that will benefit, if not majority, the greater people of your nation. So that is also true in the real applications of diplomacy. You don't wake up one day simply because you want to be a rock star. You wake up because you want to have that professional commitment to your country and to your people, because I think it's every country is very important, especially if you are referring to the foreign nationals of your own home state to that foreign country who happens to be hosting more of your local. So that is my answer, and I do not want to focus on the differences, but I wanted to focus on what and how common similarities can improve, upskill, upgrade, and enhance the relations not only of the ASEAN member states but also to the other neighboring countries that are also very strategically located within the parameters of their nations.
Right. I mean, ASEAN need strong unity about unity, you know. If we more unity, if we are stronger unity, our position will be strong and nobody can bully or nobody can attack us. I mean, unity is required in ASEAN, I guess. And in terms of diplomacy, soft power, ASEAN is important. ASEAN must unity and legal context also ASEAN is important, as you said. South China Sea, West Philippine Sea need code of conduct and all these rule-based system, legal context. We need that. ASEAN is good for that. And in terms of leather, physical, military power, I think Philippines need to go back your previous colonizer, US, I guess. You need US back for military power or physical power. I think you need to go back Philippines. I think you should make stronger relation with US. Isn't that Philippines should make better relation with US?
I wanted to say that the Philippines diplomatic relations with the United States of America is always growing every day and every moment, simply because there are many common denominators. There is a stronger ties and alliance, and even in different areas, diplomatically speaking, there are more shared values than differences. So I would categorically say that the Philippines and the United States are always in good relations. We have many Filipinos that are working, that are based, are naturalized, are my are migrants uh, within the American soil, and many Filipinos aspire for that American dream. And Filipinos feel privileged and honored to have that great aspiration in reference to the United States. And I think there are more Filipinos who prefers the United States on top of their list in terms of work or in terms of future destination. So there
Also,
is that.
also the two countries are Christian countries. So
Well, that's true, but I think politically, economically, and socially, the Philippines and the United States are more absolutely aligned. They are perfectly aligned with each other, and that makes America America. And everyone dreams to be in America. And it's an honor, it's a privilege, and we are just grateful for all the American assistance in the Republic of the Philippines. And it will be a lifetime gratitude and a lifetime um,
A lifetime,
opportunity.
a lifetime alliance between U.S. and Philippines. We can say like this. ASEAN, as part of ASEAN member, how Philippines role can play for peace building in Burma? How do you see a way how can you play out for Burmese Myanmar peace building and especially for protecting Christian community?
As part of the ASEAN, the Philippines is in consensus with the other member states to promote, proliferate, and uphold peace in Myanmar, along with the United Nations. So I would say that we are always in great solidarity to support, and hopefully everything will go back in the normal way the soonest, so that it will, more people will have the chance to have that good life inside Myanmar. And I just hope and pray that the people of Myanmar will find the courage and will be able to champion what is really best for them.
Thank you,
Right.
Rayon.
Okay.